Over 4,000 minigames were launched in a single month. That's the number of new titles released on just the WeChat platform alone in China's minigame market in 2026. But here's the truly mind-bending fact. Despite this staggeringly massive scale, the vast majority of developers, publishers, and investors around the world have never truly taken it seriously. Why? Because it doesn't live in the app stores you can download. It's hidden inside super apps like WeChat, Douyin, and Alipay, apps you probably can't even open, and even if you could, you wouldn't be able to read them. This is Roski. This channel does only one thing, helping you truly understand the Chinese gaming market. Today we're going to break down this invisible billion-dollar battlefield, China's minigame market, from start to finish. First, let's get our terms straight. A minigame is essentially China's version of an instant game, no download, no installation. Just tap and play inside WeChat or Douyin, and you're in and out in minutes. They look somewhat similar to the hyper-casual and hybrid-casual games you're familiar with, but they grow in completely different soil. The social relationship chains of super apps and the traffic pools of short video platforms. Just how big is this sector? According to Datai's 2025 minigame user acquisition report, China's minigame market reached approximately 61 billion RMB in 2025, up 22% year over year, and is expected to exceed 70 billion RMB in 2026. If you factor in all platforms and broader metrics, many industry estimates already put the figure close to 80 billion RMB. In other words, no matter which measure you use, this sector is charging straight toward billion-dollar territory, and that's in US dollars. Even more telling is the growth comparison. In 2025, the number of minigames actively being advertised grew 54% year over year. Over the same period, traditional mobile app games grew at just about 5.2%. 54% versus 5%, that tells you exactly where the money and talent are flowing. The user numbers are just as staggering. As of August 2025, top social platforms had 571 million monthly active users of minigames, while top short video platforms had 171 million. And on the short video side, that number jumped about 44% in just 3 months. Chinese players open minigames an average of 5.1 times per day, spending 24.6 minutes daily on them, a year-over-year increase of over 27%. So this is not some fringe little market for kids. It's the fastest growing, most traffic devouring, and most overlooked giant slice of China's gaming industry. To understand this market, you first need to grasp two things: how the money is made and where the battles are fought. First, monetization. Minigames make money in three mainstream ways. The first is pure ad monetization, what the industry calls IAA, in-app advertising. Lightweight products, low barriers to entry, revenue comes from ads. The second is pure in-app purchases, IAP, selling items and paid content. The third is hybrid monetization, a mix of ads and in-app purchases, which is increasingly the dominant approach. These three models are constantly converging with each other. Now, where the battles are fought. China's minigame platform landscape, remember the top three. First is WeChat minigames, the absolute leader, thanks to its unrivaled social relationship chains. In 2025, 30,000 minigames were actively being advertised on the platform. Second is Douyin minigames, the fastest growing, powered by short video discovery and instant play, with 19,000 titles being advertised, up nearly 70% year over year. The third might surprise many overseas, Alipay minigames, which is already China's third largest gaming platform. Beyond those, you have minigame portals on Huawei, Oppo, Vivo, and Xiaomi's app stores, as well as minigame sections in super apps like Kuaishou, Meituan, and https://jd.com/. But remember this one thing, the entire market still revolves around WeChat as its main axis. WeChat is the foundation, Douyin is the growth battleground, and Alipay is the underestimated third pole. I specifically counted the first week of June 2026, counting the number of new mini-games launched daily on WeChat. June 1st, 178 titles. June 2nd, 135. June 3rd, 148. June 4th, 138. June 5th, 144. Then came the weekend and numbers plummeted. June 6th had only 50, and June 7th just 25. See the pattern? More reviews and launches on weekdays, sharp drop-off on weekends. During the week from June 1st to June 7th, 2026, a total of 818 minigames went live on the WeChat platform. Project that out over a year, and WeChat alone is launching about 42,536 new titles annually. That means China easily sees over 40,000 new mini-games launched every year, and that's just new games. There's still a massive ocean of older titles in continuous operation. That's how you get to the 51,000 actively advertised titles I mentioned earlier, so I have to throw some cold water on anyone wanting to break into the Chinese market. As someone who's been in this industry for many years, I can tell you with full authority, this is one of the most crowded and brutal gaming sectors on the planet. There's no shortage of products or traffic. What's in short supply is the one title that can stand out from 40,000 others. At this point, overseas developers ask me one question more than any other: how do I actually enter the Chinese market? The first door, and there's no way around it, is the version license or banhao. In China, minigame publishing requirements are exactly the same as for mobile and PC games. You must have a version license. Here are the key points you absolutely need to understand. First, your entity must be a company registered in mainland China. That's a hard requirement. Second, you need to register your software copyright with the China Copyright Protection Center. This step isn't expensive, you can file it yourself or use an agent. Third, once you have your software copyright, you work with a qualified publishing house to submit materials and apply for the version license. My advice, apply for both mobile and PC version licenses together because they're reviewed simultaneously, which actually saves time compared to applying separately. The version license review process moves up layer by layer from the municipal bureau to the provincial bureau and finally to the national administration. So if your publishing partner is in a municipality like Beijing, Shanghai, or Tianjin, the municipal bureau can submit directly to the national level, which is faster. Once you have the license, you then register your game on WeChat and Douyin's developer dashboards and complete the MIITICP filing before you can officially launch. There are two key rules that outsiders often get wrong. First, about whether you can launch without a license. If you're using an individual developer account, making purely ad-supported games with zero in-app purchases, you can launch without a license, with the platform assuming relevant responsibility. But if you're a company entity, you must have a license, whether or not you include in-app purchases. Second, all live games must integrate an anti-addiction system to prevent minors from overplaying. The good news is that platforms like WeChat and Douyin already have this built in. You just connect to their official SDK. Is the license hard to get? Here's the latest number to put your mind at ease. For the full year of 2025, China issued 1,771 game licenses in total, 1,676 domestic and 95 imported, with a steady monthly release of roughly 140 to 200 titles. Compared to the drought years earlier, license supply has now normalized and is quite abundant. Once you clear the license hurdle, you'll run straight into the core battleground of China's mini-game market, user acquisition, or Meiliang in Chinese. In China, mini-game success is often determined not inside the game itself, but in ad buying. The sheer scale of spending here would make any overseas team gasp. Let's look at the data. According to Data-Eye's report, direct ad spend on minigame user acquisition in China hits 144 million renminbi per day. Within that, IAA, pure ad monetization games account for about 24 million renminbi daily, or 16.6% of the total. The number of actively advertised titles, 51,000, up 54% year over year. But what's even more staggering is the creative volume. In 2025, the total number of ad creatives put into market by the minigame industry exceeded 50.12 million, up 97% year over year. On Douyin alone, creatives surpassed 30 million, an explosive 153.9% increase, basically a full ecosystem eruption. Who's leading this war? In the top 30 of the Creative Toufang ad creative rankings, 37 interactive entertainment's Shundao Daqian ranked first, with several of its titles in the top 10. Dameng Longtu's Xiangjiang Shikai Pao came second, and D&D Interactive's Endless Winter ranked fourth. These names are the arms dealers of China's minigame user acquisition battlefield. Genres and mechanics are also diverging sharply. Modern theme titles exceed 15,000 being advertised, up 52%, the absolute mainstream. In terms of gameplay, Match 3 titles exceed 6,000 being advertised, up a staggering 91% year over year, making it the growth champion. Meanwhile, card games, once red hot, are in sharp decline due to stale mechanics and high customer acquisition costs. One sentence to sum up this section: to succeed in China's mini-game market, you don't just need to know how to make games, you need to know how to fight a daily, multi-million-dollar user acquisition war. And now, the final section, which I believe is the most valuable part for global peers, because what's happening in China's mini-game market is very likely what will happen in your market tomorrow. That's AI. In WeChat minigames' 2025 ad creatives, human-generated content accounts for about 5% of all ad creatives, and AI-generated content has already rapidly closed in on that figure. Its rise is visible to the naked eye. Let me give you a concrete example: 37 Interactive Entertainment's minigame Survival 33 Days. Data shows that by December 2025, AI-generated creatives accounted for 41% of its total creative output and 34% of its spend. That means roughly 1 out of every 3 creatives they put out was made by AI. Even more impressive is the efficiency gain. Previously, producing a narrative-driven world-building creative took about 8 days using traditional methods. With AI, it takes just 2 days, a 2 to 3 times overall efficiency improvement. What does this mean? It means production costs for creatives are collapsing, while iteration speed is accelerating exponentially. When a market burns over 100 million yuan a day on user acquisition and produces over 50 million creatives a year, AI is no longer a nice to have, it's a must-have to survive. So if you're an overseas developer or publisher, I strongly urge you to pay close attention. China's minigame market is becoming the world's first large-scale proving ground for AI-driven user acquisition. The playbooks that work here will eventually show up in your market. Let's quickly recap today's core takeaways. A market charging toward billion-dollar territory. A brutal competition of over 40,000 new games per month. A gatekeeper called the version license. A daily user acquisition war, burning 144 million RMB, and a future being rewritten by AI. This is China's minigame market, a market you can't see from the outside, yet one that is quietly rewriting the global rules of gaming, and this is only the first half of the story. Because the playbook's proven here, extreme user acquisition, AI-powered creative factories, hybrid monetization are now being packaged and exported back to the rest of the world. That's all for today. I'm Roski. See you next time.